Hey, very good afternoon to everybody who's joined us today. And as you can see from the screen, today we are going to be dealing with summarizing. And let me just ensure you by whom this is being presented, and that is me, the Matteo Grammar Nazi. Now, what is summarizing? There are two different types in my book. This is the normal type, where you've got basically removing all unnecessary content from text or from speech. I mean, very often we'll give a verbal summary of something we've just heard to somebody we know. But the whole thing is you must not change its core meaning. It is not. Now, be very careful about this. Summarizing, normal summarizing, is not the same as summarizing in exams. That is done according to a specific formula where you have to dig out 7 points from the given text, and you have to write them down in under a certain amount of words. No, this summarizing is what we will be called on to do in real life. Now, take a look here. A summary is similar to making a report to the speech. It must be short, simple, and factual. Okay, take note of that. Also, no examples are found in a summary, or should be found, and no figurative or idiomatic language should be found in a summary. Now, let's take a look at an example of this. And here we are going to use the example of removing examples. Take a look at the sentence, and you'll see that it says, "You may not come to school with dangerous objects such as knives, sticks, or rocks." So we now want to summarize the sentence in as few words as possible, but we must keep the core meaning. So take a look here. There are the words we can take away because we are dealing here with dangerous objects. So we don't need to say knives, sticks, or rocks. We know those are dangerous objects. So that can be chopped off from the sentence in order to summarize it and condense it. And we wind up with, there we are, "You may not come to school with dangerous objects." And there is your first example of summarizing by removing examples. Now we move on to figurative language. Here are some examples. And there you will see that sentence says, "These books are as tatty as a flea-bitten dog with mange." Now, what can we take out of that? And there we are. That's all figurative language highlighted in the red. And it says there, "a flea-bitten dog with mange." That can be scrapped from the sentence. We don't need it. So we wind up with a summary that says, "These books are very tatty." Perfectly clear, perfectly straightforward. Then we've got a sentence here. "He is a raging bull on the rugby field." Okay. Now, what can we look at here which is figurative and can be taken out? A raging bull. We're talking about a person here who cannot literally be a raging bull. So let us rewrite this in literal language. And it says here, "He plays rugby aggressively." That's it. That's all that is actually being said there. Although I must admit, to describe a raging bull on the rugby field sounds far more dramatic. However, that's not what summarizing is all about. Summarizing is about being practical and saying everything in as few words as possible. And here we have another good one. "The clouds looked down on the thirsty earth and began to weep." Now, what is that actually saying? All it is saying is it started to rain. But again, man, that beautiful line is far more poetic than just "it started to rain." This is why we use so much figurative language in literature. Then you've got this one. "It's absolutely wonderful to be in detention on Saturday." Do you think the guy that said that is actually speaking the truth? And the answer is obviously no. So what is he actually saying? I hate detention. Or you can say I hate being in detention. But here we go. Here we go. That's how to summarize that sentence as what the guy is actually saying. Now you've got, you must be so proud of having failed every one of your subjects. Not a nice thing to say to somebody. I don't recommend the teachers should say it, but basically what they are saying is you are academically weak. Also, the implication there is you did not study, but let's just stick with the first one for now. Now, it's exam season at the moment, so this is appropriate. I think we've been in this exam hall for 20 years already. That's an example of hyperbole, by the way. And really what this means is this exam is going slowly. Right, let's take a look at some more examples. And here, I'm sure you all know who Rambo is, the big macho guy played by Sylvester Stallone. And you had Rambo 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, I think. But he's a military hero. Right, so if you say he's not much like Rambo, you are in fact saying, well, let's look first. What are we looking at here as the figurative part? Not much like Rambo. Okay, so that's what we're going to take away. And we wind up with, he is a wimp. Because that's the opposite of Rambo, not much like Rambo. Right, and then we go on to this one. He passed peacefully and quietly from this world into the next. Now, that can be summarized in just 2 words. But before we look at those 2 words, let's see what we can take away from this. Peacefully and quietly from this world into the next. All we need to say is, he died. And we always laugh about this, make jokes. There's not a single person in the local graveyard who ever actually died. They always, slipped away into eternal life or something like that. But no gravestone ever says he died. Okay. And this actually I got word for word from my brother when he was in the classroom and complaining. And he said, it seems to me as if all these assignments were downloaded from the same website. And when he said that to his students, what he was in fact saying is, you all cheated, which they did. It was very funny. Anyway, this one, why do you always arrive 10 minutes after the bell is gone? Well, there's your actual thing that the teacher is saying to you. You are always late. Perfectly straightforward. And here you've got, this smells like a dead jackal floating in sewage. Hands up who smelt a dead jackal floating in sewage. Well, you'll be happy to know that I haven't either. I made this up. But what I actually mean is, this stinks. Like really stinks. Then you've got, from the Bible, not even Solomon in all his glory could be compared to the beauty of a lily. Okay? Now, what is that saying? Simple. Nothing is as beautiful as a lily. That's it. And they're using Solomon because he was, the greatest of all the kings ever to have lived. Richest and wisest and everything like that. But not even he was as beautiful as a lily, which occurs naturally, God's handiwork. Now we've got a final example of a paragraph. And I'm going to read it through with you quickly. And it says, I love winter. There are no flies, no mosquitoes, and no sweat, but it's also a time for sitting around a warm fire in the evening with a glass of wine. Moreover, the days are crisp, clear, and sunny, usually with no wind. What can we take away from this? Well, basically, all of that, all the red stuff. The I love winter is effectively what the author is saying about, well, when he wrote this down. And so you will see there that all the rest can be chopped off. Not quite that easily, because what the author is actually saying is this, that he prefers winter to the other seasons. And there we have it. That's just a very brief run through what summarizing is all about. But I'm not going to leave you empty-handed. Before you go, please take a look at this very simple task. You're going to have fun. It's a straightforward multiple choice. And really, I'm expecting everybody to do very well in that. With that, I'm going to say goodbye and enjoy the task as much as you enjoyed the presentation.